I think it's showtime. What do you think, Tom?
Absolutely. Let's talk about leveling up your salespeople. And this is coming off the heels of a discussion we had yesterday.
Oh, it is. Hey, Brett Chinham, Business Technicalities. I'm here with, I think everybody knows.
Tom Lawrence.
And it's funny. Jason is at a peer group conference this week.
Yes.
And going and learning from some of the best and greatest. Although I think they're learning from him more. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll figure out when he gets back. He'll probably have some thoughts on peer groups because he's testing out the waters and some other ones at a ConnectWise event.
He totally is, and that's a cool thing. I mean, I think we were just talking about this pre-show.
Well, it's also going down there, meeting with people. This is the reason I go to events. It's just go hang out with people. As they call it, the hallway track. The people you meet in the hall, the conversations you have, the events you attend are just the kickoff and starters. But let's swing this back over to sales, because what were we doing yesterday? And this was kind of fun.
So what in our sales team, I have asked Tom every couple of weeks to jump in on an hour-long conversation with our sales team. To actually talk about technical things. And this spearheaded from when I first started working with you, and you and I would sit and have conversations every morning about technical stuff, because what was I doing? I was selling technical things. What had I never sold before? Technical things. I spent, 23 years in the insurance industry and building a business through that. And technology was just something I played with. It was never something I knew or understood. So those talks we would have gave me a lot more knowledge. One thing I gotta jump on here, and before what do we mean by this? I think we're kind of getting to that. I used to hire my insurance agencies. I hired people with no prior insurance experience. Why? I didn't want to have preconceived notions. So I truly believe that if you're a salesperson, you can sell anything as long as you have some sort of understanding of that thing, right?
You just have to know the product. That's the important part.
Yeah, and so we started these things every couple of weeks so that our team could learn a little bit about the products that we do offer and have a better understanding. I'm not asking a salesperson to be able to set up a network or and Travis can do that, he knows how to do all that. But, we got Brett and Lori, and we've got, they're learning still the technical side, because both of them came from an industry that wasn't technical.
Right.
So, what do we mean by this? We mean about taking your sales team and teaching them the stuff that they're selling in a way that they could tell the client, this is what this does. They don't have to understand how it does it, but this is what it does. What do you think?
Yes. And I want to touch back on something you said about hiring insurance people. The reality is there's this thought that you need to have a bunch of industry experience. And specifically in sales, one of the things that's important to think about is, who were your agents selling to? Other agents, or were they selling to people like me that just need car insurance or insurance for my house? They're talking to the normal people. They just have to understand their product they're selling. And the same thing goes for these salespeople in a technical space. Salespeople aren't always talking to technical people. They're talking to other business owners, depending on the nature of what you're selling, but they're talking to other business owners. They're trying to figure out what their needs are in the products that we have and how they will align with the issues that they might be having, or how we can solve those problems.
Right.
And even better, when we can get ahead of problems that the business owner didn't see, and the salespeople go, oh, this is how, your company needs this. This will make you more efficient. This will make you more secure, et cetera, whatever those goals are for that product, and making sure that they understand the product and where it fits. And this gets more complicated at CNWR than it probably does at some other places. And it's going to come down to what you're selling. What we do at CNWR is a variety of things. We got the IT consultancy side, and we have the MSP side. And we ask our salespeople to be versed in both, which can be kind of challenging.
Yes.
And we're not a cookie cutter place. We offer a lot of custom solutions. And what we do is, on the sales exercise, is what we did yesterday. One, we try to make sure we work through the acronym soup. It turned out that we were doing pretty good on that. We just kind of
acronym soup.
Yeah. It's, outside of the, probably like the military, and I imagine the medical industry as well, the tech industry, I'm not sure which one of them has the most amount of acronyms.
I don't know. And I'm going to say the insurance agency rivals as well, man. There was an acronym for everything. And wow, it's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Well, those things, and you got to figure out, because there's name collisions in different ones. They have different meanings based on their context when you switch industries. But back to the topic, we
Yes.
kind of started that as a conversation. But what we do is I walked a lot of our sales team through yesterday. We took each one of the leads we had, because it
Mhm.
starts with what their ask is, and what their ask is doesn't necessarily convey what they want. Sometimes they have something
No, come
confusing in
on.
there. I know. So it's fun taking the real scenarios as opposed to setting up fake ones
Yeah.
and walking them through. Like, this is what they asked, but this is how I replied. I replied because I'm actually not sales, but I'm trying to decipher the technical spot. My
Mhm.
goal is always, as some leads come in, there's leads that are really simple. Hey, can you do MSP work? Well, that's easy. Sales team can handle that without a problem. Can you
Right.
replace my current MSP, assess my network, all the basics? But
Mhm.
someone comes in and starts with, I'd like to replace my firewall and I'd like to replace my network. And they have a lot of detailed technical questions or some requirements on there, but no specifics. I'll then be engaged, or one of our technical people will. And this is the part I walked them through, how I look at that incoming
Right.
inbound information. I ask a few questions, and once those questions have been answered in a way that turns it into a project, I pass it off to sales, and immediately the salespeople will start working on it. But I
Mhm.
always like to walk them through the behind the scenes of what I'm doing, because I'm triaging them as they come in, me or whoever's doing some of the technical processing, and then spending that time with your salespeople to walk through my thought process on it, of how I think the solution they should use is going to be this Synology with
Mhm.
surveillance station, because they are asking about cameras, and for the scale and scope they're operating at, that's a fit. Or when I think I should sell them a 45 drive server, and
Yeah.
then you pass it off to the sales team to turn it into an action plan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is when you talk about it, kind of our next point. Why would we want to do this? One of the things sales guys and gals can be good at sales, right? We want to bring people in that are good at having a sales conversation. But a salesperson can't sell something unless one, they have some understanding of it, and two, they believe in it,
Yeah.
right? They believe in what we're doing. And you and I, through the years, have talked about how I spent, 23 years in the insurance industry. And it was about protecting people, right? Protecting them and putting them into a place they were prior to whatever incident it was. And that's what indemnification means, by the way. And then um, with technology, it seemed to just mesh well, because what are we doing? We're helping and we're protecting people or businesses from having that worst day of their business, right? A cyber attack or a ransomware attack or whatever it may be. We're helping to protect that using best efforts. So I think it resonated with me, and that is why I was able to sell it, because I believed in it. So
Yeah.
why would you want to do this? Is because first off, you have to give some industry knowledge to the salespeople. Plus, they have to believe in what they're selling, because if they don't, they're not effective.
Yeah, and the problem too kind of becomes a little bit of confusion you can
Mhm.
have in a product you sell, because this is something that I've gone over before, because they're like, wait a minute, this product seems to have at least two of the features that are also in this product, and it overlaps again with a third
Mhm.
product, and we seem to sell all these products, but there's I love Venn diagrams, and I don't have one at the ready, or I'd prompt it. I take the three ones and I say, by the way, all three of these do have this same feature, even though the products are different. There
Yeah.
is a common feature they have, and it does create a little bit of confusion, because you think of it more as compartmentalized. Let's
Right.
go back to our insurance example. If you sell my auto insurance, there's not an overlap. My car does not cover something like a tree falling on my house. Those are completely separate
Oh, but
policies.
there are overlapping things.
There's some overlapping things,
Or
but if
because
my
if
car
you
was
have
in that
personal
garage,
property in the car, that's actually covered under your homeowner's
and that's
insurance,
covering
not
your
your
homeowners.
car. So
Yeah.
anyways, I digress.
But nonetheless, it's understand it. The tech industry has a lot of times, and all these companies are really trying to push for them being
Mhm.
the ultimate solution. And while that is a wonderful dream that I hear preached about, I was actually at an event. I won't name the company, because they unveiled their grand vision a few years ago, how they would have one agent on the system that completely does all things. By the way, it has not occurred, so I'm not blaming them. I just kind of pat them on the back, go, good going, guys. I'm glad you're trying to do that too. That is
Yeah.
really hard to do. So the reality of tech right now here in 2024 is still multiple products with certain amounts of overlap, which can create a little bit of challenges for the salespeople, especially because the larger firms that are too much VC money, they're like, hey, you are really good in this space. Why don't you step into your neighbor's space too? Which then, of
Yeah.
course, creates more confusion. Hey, this one company's selling that. And you kind of have to keep up with these things from the back end side. But then when it comes to salespeople, you don't want to confuse them with any of it. All the
Mhm.
back end goings on. That's something us technical people can go argue about. And honestly, unless the salesperson's really interested in it, like, hey, the information's over here if you want to argue about it on Reddit with us, but let's focus on how we're going to sell it.
Right.
And then as technical people, I have to make sure that the salespeople understand what we sell for what, because
Right.
even if that product has an overlap into the other side, we're not selling it for that feature. That's a new feature someone told them to create and they didn't do a good job of it. This is something we can't share internal
That
notes, but
seems
also
to happen a lot.
I
mean,
know Jason's feedback was already at meeting with a vendor of, we were worried that they would, because they're expanding a feature, and he goes, it's terrible. They've had 6 months to get it and they didn't get it right. Which
oh
means
yeah.
one of the other products we have is completely unaffected by it because it does a better job, which means we're going to continue using multiple products because this product, despite adding the feature, has not got it right. Therefore, it's not really on the roadmap. But these are important things to make sure your salespeople, just because they're going to talk to the vendors. The vendors have sales training. Lots of them do. Synology is an easy example of that. Synology, when you go to their sales training, it's not bad. I've been to some of their junket. I've went to physically some of the events that Synology's had before. The problem is we don't sell every solution Synology has. Some pieces are awesome. Some pieces are not what we'd put in our stack. So we eliminate those from what the salespeople have on their sheet of what they're going to sell. And this is where that technical training comes in, of making sure your salespeople really understand what you're selling, what fits what solution. And comes back full circle to what I said about taking these leads that come in, and even if they're ones the salespeople process, helping them read between the lines to make sure you're always engaged with your sales team. We do this about every 2 weeks. I think twice a month is plenty, but we always make sure we have a good open line of communication between the departments so they can do this, because you have your weekly solutions design meetings.
Right. And the thing is I pinged Lori yesterday, and she was working on something with XCP&G, and I said, ask Tom. Just go ping Tom. And so
Yep.
that the thing is, within our team, each one of us is accessible too. I mean, we have planned learning events, but I think every day, and so this goes into, we talked about the benefits of doing so, and I'm going to roll right into how to go about doing this and fostering consistent learning, active learning type situations, right?
Yeah.
I've always said I'm an active learner. I always want to learn something. The moment I don't want to learn something is the moment I'm going to probably die, because that is me, and that's just been the way I
Time to
always.
retire, Brett.
Well, oh no, I got
If you don't, once you don't want to learn no more, it's time to retire.
in retirement, I will still be an active learner.
Yeah.
I'll actually learn how to do the projects around the house I should have been doing 10 years ago. But I active learning and I believe good salespeople are this way. They want to learn more, and it's the old need more input, right? I
Yeah.
need input, and giving them input by sales training, right? First and foremost, some sort of sales training. Um, the weekly meetings we do. So in our sales teams, you talked about solutions design. That's where our sales team gets together with the tech team, and we discuss the clients we've talked about and the solutions they're looking for, and then we build those in those meetings.
Yeah.
Which is the sales team is learning so much about what we do through those meetings. The meetings we have with you every couple weeks, where we talk about a specific process or a project or something. This week was we started with acronyms and got into how to really read through a quote, and they're ever moving, and they flow. One time we talked about our stack and all the different things in our stack, and it's having those things. Industry events. Industry events are important for salespeople to go to, not the technical ones,
No,
because
but
I
the ones
think
that you get some of the sales training, understand the product better. That's why I
yeah.
mentioned like the Synology one. And a lot of these companies do have that. It's we're sending your salespeople to that, figuring out
Mhm.
which ones are aligned with them, whether it's a event about, because we are a Meraki and Cisco seller, so we have those events.
Mhm.
These are important so they understand each process on it. But that solutions design weekly meeting, that's really important too, because it's part
Right.
of how we handle things. Because it's not like we need a solutions design for an MSP. It's
Mhm.
more about when solution design gets involved is when we had a couple of them actually came in that were really interesting, that people had
Yeah.
some really complicated challenges, multi-building, site to site, fiber between the buildings. We
Mhm.
need 25 cameras on this building, 25 cameras on the other building, maybe a few more. And then we
Yeah.
need storage for all of this. And by the way, while we're at it, let's go ahead and we want to replace the switches we have. Great. That sounds like a wonderful lead, but we do let the people know we will head this over to solution design so we can get you a further quote on it and dive deeper into it. I think we have you guys have quite a few for solution design this week. I've seen some things stacked up.
Yeah, we did. We're actually having to change the meeting to midweek because
Just so many.
there's so many, and our leadership team meeting was cutting into that, so
Yeah.
we didn't want to take away because we do it in an hour. And here's the thing: when we could talk about meetings, I think we did talk about meetings to have meetings one point, but meetings shouldn't be longer than 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what you're doing. If it's just a conversation, 30 minutes. If it's an hour, that you should be actually doing something within that. Um, Oh, let's see. He says outside sales. Hold on, I want to bring this up. Outside sales, at least.
Yeah. Having a salesperson
Um,
can be pretty important. I think you're talking about just like probably the inbound leads, someone to process all of it. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good spot to hire. It really kind of depends. I have probably a little bit different than average because I was able to sell. I didn't want to, but I had the
Mhm.
ability to do. So it's kind of got me as far as I did without hiring a salesperson before I did. But yeah, it is a
Right.
great position to hire for. Um,
And the
Especially when
thing is,
I prefer
yeah,
to be technically focused. That's where my passion is in the tech side.
on one of the Facebook tech pages, I we got there was somebody talking about how they grow and what they do, and hey, we have this we have this this I'm starting this new business and I don't have any clients and I've been in it a couple years, and I felt bad for them because people were saying, "Oh, hire this, do this, subscribe to this." I'm going to tell you, in sales, it's really easy. You got to talk to people.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it. How you do that is how you do that. You network, you talk, you go to events, you cold call.
Yep.
Cold calling still works.
Yeah.
So,
We'll get off
but
topic. We go down this rabbit hole, but it is absolutely maybe our next topic should be all the things we do, despite having the YouTube channel, which brings in
yeah,
leads for us. We still are doing cold calling. We're still doing all of those things on there. But bringing
yeah,
it back to the technical
absolutely.
topic of here is yes, we do these weekly trainings with them, or every
Mhm.
2 weeks we just for the purpose of training. But the weekly meetings are with our solutions design, making sure you have it. Maybe you don't need a weekly cadence. It kind of depends on the amount that coming in, but making sure you have a clear line between your sales team and your tech team to make sure these are aligned. Even if those
Yep.
teams are only a couple people, that's fine. It's all about making sure that the salespeople are always aligned with what needs to be sold. You set
Mhm.
at the top with the vision of the company for what product lines you're going to sell, making sure you know what of those product lines you're going to sell. Don't send your salespeople out in the cold and say, go learn Synology because we're selling Synology. No, no, no. Learn these facets of Synology. We're not selling everything Synology has because some
Mhm.
of the products we is not a fit for things. So
What
making
yeah,
sure
it
you
doesn't
have
fit
those.
for the things we're trying to build for a client, right?
Yep.
It could be we need a TrueNAS for that, or we need a 45 drives for that instead.
Yeah, we have,
Um,
when we polish that sheet up, maybe that'd be a fun thing to do for people that may want to see. We have our, line card is what I've seen a lot of people do. Like, here's your line card of things you sell. But I have like a breakdown that I've made, a document that we have internally. It's kind of messy, but it's been getting better. Brett's been really putting a lot of time into it. That might be a fun thing to share with people at some point in time where, hey, here's the things we sell, just so you can
yeah.
see what it looks like. It may be different for you, but you can still look at how we do things as a template for how you might want to do things.
Yeah, I think I think that's the one thing that we've always been is open, right? And
Yeah,
and talking about what we do and how we do it, because it may not be right for a business how we do it. It may not be right for your business, but at least it gives you some ideas so you can take morph and make it fit to
right.
your business and your structure. I mean, talking about, being smaller. When we were smaller, we everyone did everything, but as we've merged and
Yeah, you
grown, we
compartmentalize.
yeah, you got to compartmentalize because it's important. Now we have account managers and sales executives. Now we have service level 1, level 2, level 3. We through CNWR, it's an expansion. As you expand, though, you got to get some some specialties within those expansions.
Absolutely.
um
I think we got all the.
Wrapping up in my thought, I mean, because we said we only wanted to go 15, we're
Yeah.
almost at 20. um getting your sales team, leveling up your sales team so that they understand what they're selling. Understand it. They don't have to know how it does
No,
what it does, but
they know they need to
understanding.
know how it solves the problem for the client. That's the most
There it
important.
is. There it is.
Yeah.
How it solves for X.
Yes, how it solves the
And you,
problem for the client. That's the thing that you have to
yeah.
empower your sales team to understand, listen to the problem, understands how the things that we sell and which one of those things we sell
Mhm.
solves what problem. They don't have to worry about the technical details. So that's what I hopefully leave you with.
Yeah.
Have these meetings, put the time in with your salespeople. They don't have to be technical because 99% of the time they're not talking to technical people.
Yeah. They're not. I mean,
They're
once
not.
in a while they get the CTO or CIO,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, for special project work, because we do co-manage it, we're a little bit more the exception on that side of the house. But that's
Mhm.
also why technical people like myself triage a lot of those more technical
Right.
leads. And those are fine. It's like your salesperson doesn't have to handle 100%. The salesperson can handle most stuff because most of the time, myself, I can speak for probably other technicians that feel this way. You give me a technical person that's talking to me, I'm excited to talk to them.
Right.
I don't mind talking to the other people, but reality is someone goes, can you just make my computers work? I have a salesperson that would love to talk to you about how to make your computers work.
How to hit enter.
Yeah, they're
All
gonna,
right.
there's the more general things. So,
Oh
all right, we'll
yeah,
leave everyone
no,
with
I
this.
get it. I think we've got this. And if comments in the, and I promise this time I'll look at them.
I'm
Tom and
gonna
I were
make Brett
talking
read.
about
I'm gonna
that.
make Brett start replying to all the comments.
I got to reply, and Jason's going to reply. Tom's going to. We're all
There
going
you
to
go.
reply. Darn it! And then like and subscribe if you're just listening to us and seeing us
Absolutely.
or something, because I think what we're just trying to do is just, hey,
Yeah.
learn from the mistakes we've made. Let us help in talking through business stuff. And hey,
The only thing better than learning from your mistakes is learning from my mistakes.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right, man. Hey, have a great day, everybody. Thank you for watching live, and thank you for watching this later on in the day. We
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
it, really.
All right. Thanks.
All right.